Shalom, children of the Most High, and welcome to our Midweek Bible study. Tonight, we're studying Bereshith, which is Genesis, chapters 47 and 48. So go ahead and grab your Bibles, whichever one that you read out of. It's all good. And find a chair, grab a cup of coffee, and we'll get started tonight, okay? All right. I hope everybody's having a good week. It's been beautiful weather. You sure start to feel a little bit of fall in the air. Very little, but a little bit in the mornings and in the evenings. It's nice. It's real nice. Okay, gang, let's go ahead and get started. Tonight, Bereshith, which is Genesis, chapter 47 and 48. Let me clear my throat real quick and grab a drink. Alrighty then. Chapter 47. Then Joseph went and spoke to Pharaoh and said, My father and my brothers, their flocks and their herds, and all that they possess, they have come from the land of Canaan. And see, they are in the land of Goshen. And he took 5 men from among his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to his brothers, What is your occupation? Remember, he told them not to tell them that they're shepherds. And they said to Pharaoh, Your servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers. And they said to Pharaoh, We have come to dwell in the land, because there is no pasture for your servants' flocks. For the scarcity of food is severe in the land of Canaan. And now, please let your servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, saying, Your fathers and your brothers have come to you. The land of Mizraim is before you. Settle your fathers and brothers in the best of the land. Let them dwell in the land of Goshen. And if you know of capable men among them, then make them chief herdsmen over my livestock. And Joseph brought in his father Jacob, and set him before Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Jacob, How old are you? And Jacob said to Pharaoh, The days of the years of my sojournings are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, and they have not reached the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their sojournings. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh, and went out from before Pharaoh. So Joseph settled his father and his brothers, and gave them a possession in the land of Mizraim, in the best of the land, in the land of Rames, as Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph provided his father and his brothers and all his father's household with bread for the mouth of their little ones. Now there was no bread in all the land, because of the scarcity of food was very severe, and the land of Mizraim and all the land of Canaan became exhausted from the scarcity of food. And Joseph gathered up all the silver that was found in the land of Mizraim and in the land of Canaan, for the gain which they bought. And Joseph brought the silver into Pharaoh's house. And when the silver was all spent in the land of Mizraim and in the land of Canaan, all the Mitzraites came to Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in your presence? For the silver is gone. And Joseph said, Give your livestock, and I give you bread for your livestock, if the silver is gone. So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for the horses, and for the flocks they owned, and for the herds they owned, and for the donkeys. Thus he fed them with bread in exchange for all their livestock that year. And when that year had ended, they came to him in the next year and said to him, We do not hide from my master that our silver is all spent, and my master also has the livestock we owned. There has not been left any before my master but our bodies and our land. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and let us and our land be servants of Pharaoh, and give us seed, and let us live and not die, and let the land not lie waste. And Joseph bought the entire land of Mizraim for Pharaoh, because every man of the Mizraites sold his field, because the scarcity of food was severe upon them, and the land came to be Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he moved them into the cities, from one end of the borders of Mizraim to the other. Only the ground of the priests did he not buy, for the priests had from what Pharaoh gave them by law, and they ate that which Pharaoh gave them by law. Therefore they did not sell their ground. And Joseph said to the people, Look, I have bought you and your land today for Pharaoh. Look, here is seed for you, and you shall sow the land. And it shall be that in the harvest you shall give 1/5 to Pharaoh, and 4/5 is your own, as seed for the field, and for your food, for those of your households, and as food for your little ones. So now Pharaoh owns all of them. But he doesn't own the children of Israel. They're in Goshen. Nobody's bothering them. They've got all their herds and everything else. They're good to go. Verse 25. And they said, You have saved our lives. Let us find favor in the eyes of my master, and we shall become Pharaoh's servants. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Mizraim to this day, that Pharaoh should have 1/5, except for the ground of the priests only, which did not become Pharaoh's. And Israel dwelt in the land of Mizraim, in the land of Goshen, and they had possessions there, and bore fruit, and increased exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Mizraim 17 years. So the length of Jacob's life was 147 years. And the time for Israel to die drew near, and he called his son Joseph and said to him, Now if you have found favor in your eyes, please put your hand under my thigh, and show loving commitment and truth to me. Please do not bury me in Mizraim. But I shall lie with my fathers, and you shall take me up out of Mizraim and bury me in their burial place. And he said, I do as you have said. And he said, Swear to me. And he swore to him. And Israel bowed himself on the head of the bed. Okay, so it looks like everybody's moved in, and the famine's still going on, and all the Mizraites have sold everything, including themselves, to Pharaoh for grain. But the children of Israel are still kind of in the shadows, and nobody's paying attention to them because they're all in the city. Everybody's been hustled into the cities now. Kind of interesting how they do that. Anybody 15-minute cities? Okay, let's move on to chapter 48. And after these events it came to be that it was said to Joseph, See, your father is sick. And he took with him his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And Jacob was told, See, your son Joseph is coming to you. And Israel strengthened himself and sat up on the bed. And Jacob said to Joseph, El Shaddai appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and blessed me, and said to me, See, I am making you fruitful, and shall increase you, and make of you an assembly of peoples, and give this land to your seed after you as an everlasting possession. And now your 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, who were born to you in the land of Mizraim before I came to you in Mizraim, are mine. As Reuben and Simon, they are mine. Your offspring whom you shall bring forth after them are yours. And let them be called by the name of their brothers in their inheritance. So they are officially part of the family. They're considered sons of Jacob, or sons of Israel. Right there. I want to highlight that for further reference. Verse 7, and when I came from Padam, Rachel died beside me in the land of Canaan on the way, when there was but a little distance to go to Ephrath. And I buried her there on the way to Ephrath, that is, Bethlehem. And Yisrael saw Joseph's sons, and said, Who are these? And Joseph said to his father, They are my sons, who Elohim has given me in this place. And he said, Please bring them to me, and let me bless them. And the eyes of Yisrael were dim with age, and he was unable to see. And he drew them near him, and he kissed them, and embraced them. And Yisrael said to Joseph, I had not thought to see your face, but see, Elohim has also shown me your seed. So Joseph brought them from between his knees, and he bowed down with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim with his right hand toward Yisrael's left hand, and Manasseh with his left hand toward Yisrael's right hand, and brought them near to him. So the firstborn was towards Yisrael's right hand, and the secondborn was towards Yisrael's left hand, because the right hand is where the blessing comes from, firstborn. Verse 14, And Yisrael stretched out his right hand and laid it on Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand on Manasseh's head, consciously directing his hands, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said, The Elohim before whom my fathers Abraham, Isaac walked, the Elohim who has fed me all my life, long to this day. The messenger, capital M, messenger, who has redeemed me from all evil, bless the youths, and let my name be called upon them, and the name of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, and let them increase to a multitude in the midst of the earth. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it was evil in his eyes. And he took hold of his father's hand and removed it from the head of Ephraim to the head of Manasseh. And Joseph said to his father, Not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also became a people, and he also is great. And yet his younger brother is greater than he, and his seed is to become the completeness of the nations. Now you might want to underline all of that, because that's really important as we get further on into the book, when we find out how us, the Gentiles, are grafted into the tree of life, into the 12 tribes of Israel, through the atoning blood of Yehoshua, Messiah, gave his blood as a sacrifice, a perfect sacrifice, to atone for the sins of all men, including the Gentiles. So when you look at this blessing, it's really pointing towards that the Gentiles are actually the tribe of Ephraim. Okay, that we're grafted into the tree as the tribe of Ephraim. I know a lot of people are going to say, wait, how did you get that? How? You'll see later on. We'll get into that later, because I know that that's going to ruffle people's feathers. Alright, let's go ahead and continue on. I hope you all got that marked, because you're going to use that for reference later on. And he blessed them on that day, saying, In you Yisrael shall bless, saying, Elohim make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. Thus he put Ephraim before Manasseh. And Yisrael said to Joseph, See, I am dying, but Elohim shall be with you and bring you back to the land of your fathers. And I have given to you one portion above your brothers, which I took from the hand of the Amorite, with my sword and with my bow. There's a lot of information there, gang, especially with the blessing. That's really, as we get along in our studies, it's really an important blessing, okay? And that's how Manasseh and Ephraim, that are of mixed blood of the Egyptians, were blessed by Jacob, Yisrael, and brought into the family, grafted into the family tree. Okay? I know there's a lot of questions that are going to come out of that. And if you've got questions, toss them in my direction and I'll find the answers for you. If you look them up for yourself, it's probably better for you, because that way you'll see it with your eyes yourself. Or you can just be patient and we'll get there in the book. We're not that far into it now, you know. We're just about through Genesis. Excuse me. After tonight, we have 2 chapters left in Genesis. And then after that, we'll be moving on to Exodus. And we'll have a complete reading and explanation of Exodus along the way. Okay? All right. I hope that you guys are gaining wisdom and knowledge, and everything that I'm saying to you, if you're not following along in your Bible, and I don't care what edition of the Bible that you read. I read the scriptures because it's a direct translation. But if you read the KJV or the New KJV or the Amplified or whatever it is that you choose to read, it's fine, because you can still follow along. All right? I prefer this because the words aren't watered down. And it's easier to understand, especially when we get into the renewed covenant. You're not going to have that Greco-Roman translation that's so confusing. All right, gang. That's all I got tonight. Y'all have a good rest of your week, and we'll see you on Shabbat. All right? Shalom.